going on vacation to Paris, you need to know in advance about the main attractions of the city, so that after arrival you don't waste time looking for fabulous places. I present to your attention the 10 most popular and visited attractions in Paris, which are a must-see for every traveler. First place, the Arc de Triomphe. The Arc de Triomphe is a monument in the 8th arrondissement of Paris on the Place Charles de Gaulle, erected in 1806 to Luxembourg Gardens. The Luxembourg Gardens is a palace and park ensemble in the center of Paris, a well-known landmark of the city. The former Royal and now State Palace Park in the Latin Quarter of Paris covers an area of 26 hectares. The Luxembourg Palace is located in the park, where the Senate, the second chamber of the French Parliament, sits. The Luxembourg Garden is bounded from the north by the palace of the same name and the Petit Palais, which is the official residence of the President of the Senate, the Greenhouse and the Luxembourg Museum, and from the east by the Paris Higher National School of Mining. Third place, Opera Garnier. Opera Garnier is the theater in Paris, one of the most famous and significant opera and ballet theaters in the world, located in the Palais Garnier in the 9th district of Paris, at the end of Opera Avenue, near the metro station of the same name. The building is considered the benchmark of eclectic Beaux-Arts architecture and belongs to the era of major transformations of the city, embodied by Napoleon III and Prefect Haussmann. For a long time the building of the theatre was called the Paris Opera, but after the opening in 1989 of the second theatrical venue for the Paris National Opera, the Bastille Opera, it began to be called after the architect Charles Garnier. Both institutions are united in the public commercial enterprise Paris National Opera. Fourth place, Tuileries Garden. The Tuileries Garden is a public park in the center of Paris, in the first arrondissement. Occupied the territory between the Place de la Concorde, Rue Rivoli, the Louvre and the Seine. Spread over 25.5 hectares, its length is 920 meters, and its width is 325 meters. Once upon a time, the Tuileries Palace adorned it. Today the park is the most significant and oldest park in the French style. Back in the 15th century, there was the outskirts of the city outside the walls of the Louvre fortress, with a public dump and extraction of clay for the production of tiles, hence the name Tuileries. Fifth place, Alexander III Bridge. Alexander III Bridge is a single-arch bridge spanning the Seine in Paris between Les Invalides and the Champs-Élysées. The total length of the bridge is 160 meters, and the width is about 33 meters. In order not to obscure the panorama of the Champs-Élysées, the height of the structure does not exceed 6 meters, which at the time of its creation was considered an amazing achievement. 6th place, Concorde Square. Concorde Square is the central square of Paris, an outstanding monument of neoclassical urban planning. It is located in the 8th arrondissement of Paris on the right bank of the Seine, in the city center between the Champs-Élysées from the west and the Tuileries Garden from the east. It is the second largest in France after Place Quinson in Bordeaux. It bore the name of King Louis XV, since its territory, which was owned by the king, was granted to the city by King Louis in 1743. Seventh place, Catacombs of Paris. Catacombs of Paris, a network of underground tunnels about 1.5 kilometers long, on the site of ancient Roman quarries near Paris. In the period from the end of the 18th to the middle of the 19th century, the remains of about 6 million people were brought here. The total area of the underground cemetery is 11,000 square meters. Today the catacombs are part of the Carnival Museum, and part of their territory is open to the public. Eighth place, Latin Quarter. The Latin Quarter is a traditional student quarter in the 5th and 6th arrondissement of Paris on the left bank of the Seine around the Sorbonne University. It is adjacent to the Saint-Germain quarter located to the west. The name comes from the Latin language, which was previously taught at the Sorbonne. In this case, the quarter designates not one of the 80 administrative districts of Paris, but is an area with unmarked boundaries located on the slopes of the hill of Sainte-Geneviève. Ninth place, Cours du Commerce-Saint-André. Each building on the Cours du Commerce-Saint-André has its own history. Once in the house number 8, the great revolutionary published his first issue of the newspaper Friend of the People. And in the building next door, Dr. Guillotine developed a special machine for painless decapitation. Here he conducted his first experiments. Danton lived on the Cours du Commerce-Saint-André, but the building has not been preserved. In its place now stands a statue of a revolutionary. The Procope restaurant is still operating on the street, where Robespierre, Diderot, Balzac, Molière, and many other famous political figures and artists once sat at the tables. Tenth place, Stade de France. Do you love football? Go to a football match at the Stade de France, which seats up to 80,000 fans. Perhaps your favorite team will play. It was here that the French national team held numerous training sessions and matches against their rivals. If you wish, you can take a tour of the stadium and visit the premises where the players changed clothes, where the president of the country's football federation sat. There is also a museum inside. World-famous stars periodically perform at the Stade de France.